3, 2, 1.
You are listening to the DBAD movement. This is the Don't Be a Dickhead podcast. I'm John Gilbert.
I'm Iain Thompson.
I'm Alex King.
And today we have a very special guest. Every now and again you meet somebody so talented that it makes you feel inadequate, and Alan is one of those people. Alan Hudson, TV magician, nice guy, comedian, and available to spend some time with us to record this podcast. Alan, welcome along.
Thanks, John. That's nice. That is my main aim in life, is to make people feel inadequate. So that is job done for today.
Tick.
Well, that's the secret mission of DBAD. So long as you feel inadequate and then want to self-improve, then that's okay. You're a master at it.
Well, it's a weird thing about magic, isn't it? That everybody wants to kind of know how the tricks are done, and there's something a little bit. Do you know when you do a trick and then you're kind of hiding something? So therefore, you have got this thing where even though you're doing tricks and you want everybody to enjoy it, I do think sometimes people do feel a bit stupid sometimes, and that's the kind of trick of what I do, really. I try not to make people do that, but you can't help it because you want to do good tricks. So
We've just done a full episode on lying and dickheadery surrounding lying, and it's basically Alan's job, that, isn't it?
It is.
Should have got him on that.
Yeah, everything you say, this is a normal deck of cards. Probably isn't, is it?
For the benefit of the listeners, so Alan has, during the COVID-19 lockdown, adapted his trade and is doing Zoom-based magic. And we did this as a team. And it was fantastic. And I've been telling everybody to do it. I don't think they've all been listening to me, unless they've been absolutely beating down your door. But yeah, it was probably the highlight of my lockdown, Alan. And I'm not just saying that for sycophancy.
Do you know what? It's been it's such a weird thing to do, because for the first month of lockdown, I just sat on my arse and did nothing and went, oh, well, this is it. This is my year off then, I guess. And then I started doing a few tricks, like on friends' quizzes and things like that. And you saw all these people reacting. And then I thought, oh, maybe there's something in this. And now it's become a full-time job. In a way, it's ruined lockdown, because I was loving it before. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, just, I was having a little drink every day, pretty much, and nothing to do, go for a walk, good weather. I thought, this is fantastic, this is better. And then this Zoom show took over, and I went, oh, this is interesting, I'll do this for a bit. And the odd person might book it here and there, and it might pay for groceries for the week or something like that. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing ones every single day. On Saturday, I've got 7.
Really?
I've got 7 shows. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is good, but as I say, it has absolutely ruined it.
Well, hopefully this doesn't go on forever, and you'll have enough in the bank to pay for maybe next year now. But the subject that we've got for today's podcast, which is holidays.
Yeah, when you said it was holidays,
we're talking about...
I was right on board with this. This is one of my things that really gets me. So thanks for having me on this one. This is the perfect one.
For the benefit of our massive American fan base, we're not talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're talking about what you would call a vacation.
Yeah.
Okay, but before you have your vacation, you've got to get there. So should we talk a bit about the journey? And I believe the DBAD community have a few points on that. Or you've been doing some research, have you, Alex?
Yeah, so we've heard from Pippa Clarkson, and she said just plain etiquette in general, and specifically people who knock you out with their cabin bags when you get off the plane. So I think that's when there's a big rush to get off the plane and everybody sort of scrambles, and it's I've just never understood the point in it. It really stresses me out, that part of the journey.
But it's the same when you're getting on as well, though, and everyone's trying to get their bags right above their own seats, and
Well, the etiquette of getting off is never understood by people. So what happens is, as soon as the seatbelt sign goes, bing, everyone jumps up. Now, if you're not the first to jump up, because not everybody can get up at the same time, you might be the one that's sat down. And then they're getting their cabin bags off, and there's that sort of thing where people are trying to get ahead, because sometimes it's a few ahead of you, sometimes it's a few behind you. And then sometimes people, because they're stood up, they don't seem to think they have to let you out first. The etiquette is this: it's people from the front of the plane first. They go out, and it's row by row. That is how it should be. But people just behind you, because they're stood up first, they think that they can push past you.
Yeah.
That's a really annoying thing.
Yeah.
You get drawn into it as well. So that once they all stand up, then you stand up, and if you're like at the window seat or the middle seat, then you're like stood up with your head like bent over because you can't quite stand up right.
At a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, you got to stand there for 20 minutes with a crick in your neck.
And it's ruined your holiday because you've had to spend all of it with a trapped nerve.
Yeah.
Sciatica. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for the airline industry to do it. You know, on every flight, then they do the safety instructions. Yes, here's your whistle. Here's how to put this on. Here's how to do your seat. Here's how to put your seatbelt on. They're still teaching us that. Surely this is an opportunity to do something around etiquette, and we could change it every 6 months, or at the end of the flight before everybody. Right, okay. Before you stand up, please pay attention to the following dickheadery message, and that's how we do it. It's just about social conduct.
There's a couple of airlines, I'm sure, I can't remember which one it was that I went on recently, and they've started to do like a comedy version of the messages at the beginning. So all like the safety stuff is done like in a comedy video, and using celebrities.
Qatar Airways, I can't remember what football team it is, but they're all like in the dressing room, and he's like showing them how to do like the plane, but in like the form of football. So I think it's quite cool. Makes you pay more attention, I think.
Yeah, they get children to do it as well, don't they? There's one where there's like little kids pretending to be the air hostesses. Yes. There's nothing that fills you with confidence knowing there's a 4-year-old in charge of telling you where the exits are.
Well, I mean, I believe that Air New Zealand has the cast from The Lord of the Rings doing it.
Really?
Now, yeah, in The Lord of the Rings, the only real flying you see there is them on the back of the eagles having destroyed the ring on Mordor, which they could have just done straight away at the beginning of the film. So what do they know about efficient travel?
Wow. Have they really got that?
Well, maybe we should fact check this before we put the podcast out, and it wasn't just something I dreamt.
Okay.
It's getting off the plane is bad, but also getting on the plane. That's my other bugbear with planes itself, is that you get on the plane and you go. The woman says, "Oh, you're in 11B," and you go, "Yeah, I know that because I've just checked the ticket 20 times on the way down to the thing. I know where I am." And they go, "Oh, it's just up there on the left." And you go, "Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably just up there, probably after 9 and 10, right?" But most people don't seem to be able to grasp the concept of numbers on an airplane. That's the thing. So they're looking at the ticket and they're looking up and they're looking around and going, "Oh, where is it?" And then they finally find their seat, 11, and then they go, "Right, okay, well," no, there's a big queue of people behind them at this point, by the way. And then they go, "Well, I suppose I better get my headphones out and maybe take my jacket off now and a little stretch just before I sit down, and I wonder, just check my text messages. I better just do that." And you go, "Come on, you knew it was happening. You knew when you were waiting for everybody else to put their bag up. You knew that was going to happen." So yeah, I don't understand why it's such a shock to people as they get to their seat that they might have to do things. I get everything ready. I take my jacket off. I get the bag ready. I go, right, I'm up to my seat. I can do it in 3 seconds. I'm there. Boom. Back, jump in to let everybody else by.
That's a great call as well about when they make you take your ticket out again as you get on the plane, and then they tell you, right, it's up here, and you're like, and that's a really good call. Like the alternative, sometimes you might get on a plane and they might say, so head down here, second right. When you get to the roundabout, you want the third exit, and your seat's just up, like past the third lamppost.
Go down a lift. Yeah.
If you get to the bushes, you've gone too far. I mean, so the thing is that the almost trauma of the journey means that the holiday has to really be worth it, because before you even got to the plane, you've got to do that charming of task of airport security, which is just the most soul-destroying environment to be in.
I remember one time I was going to the US, and I have a pacemaker, so I have to be frisked, because I can't go through the metal detector things. So they're getting around and they always have to frisk me. And this guy got me and he said, right, so you just want to put your arms out. I'm just going to frisk you. Would you like to go to a private room? And I was like, and I said, no, you're all right. I'm used to this. Just frisk me quickly. So he started patting down my arms. Then he does all right, and he goes, right, I'm now going to do the back of your waistband and your bottom. would you like the private room? I was like, no, I'm fine, thank you very much. So he did that. Then he goes, you want to just turn round? And he did my chest. And then he goes, I'm now going to do the front of your trousers. Are you sure you don't want to go to a private room? I was like, no, do you?
I feel like he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, do you need me to sign something for you or something? I mean, he must have been an admirer, is all I can imagine. He had a good route around, I'll be honest.
I think that's an excellent idea. I mean, if they all pretend to be attracted to you, it's a good start to your holiday.
Well, yeah, I mean,
pick me up.
It was, yeah, I mean, it wasn't unpleasant.
Yeah, you went around 3 times.
I'm sure he was genuinely attracted to you, by the way, and I
Thanks
didn't
very
mean
much.
to try and take that away from you then.
Yeah, thanks.
Ruining you by saying it was a piece of advanced customer service. But you're always fun and games to go through security anyway.
I have. Me and you have done a podcast before where we've discussed this, haven't we? And
We have.
I was once coming back from Santorini in Greece, and I was on my own, and this it feels like now just a podcast talking about my ailments. I also take blood pressure tablets. You need to know that for the story. So I was going through the security thing, and when you go up to the line, I'd been filming with the drone, and obviously when you've got the drone, then you've got lithium batteries, so you've got to put them in fireproof pouches to take through onto the plane, and the fireproof patches have like the big warning sign and like the toxic sign on the back of lorries. They have those on them. So I was there in the queue, and as we got up to the bit where you have to put your bags through the scanner, then I got my bag out and I took all my electrical equipment out, and then I had to take out these bags with warning toxic signs on them and put them next to me, and I like looked to my left and there's a woman behind me, and I just sort of gave her a little smile, and she like looked at them looking a little bit nervous, and then I started clearing out my pockets, and I cleared my keys out of my pockets, reached into my pocket and found my blood pressure tablets, because I always keep them in my left hand pocket, and I thought, oh right, I haven't taken my blood pressure tablets. Oh well. So I put them in my mouth and went to swallow them. But just before I went to swallow them, I realised, oh wait a minute, I remember taking my blood pressure tablets this morning. I must have took them. These must be yesterday's that I forgot to take. So I spat my blood pressure tablets back out into my hand, but not before I'd already wet them with a bit of spittle, so they'd started dissolving. So now all I had in my hand was white powder. And I looked to the side, and there's this woman there still looking at me with white powder all over my hands that I'd brought out my pocket. And then I started like wiping it onto the floor and just trying to get rid of it without anyone seeing me. So like flushing away my drugs, basically. At which point then I turned to my bags went into the scanner. I turned to the security guard, and to this woman's horror, I don't know how she got on the plane after all this. To this woman's horror, I then said, can't go through the metal detector, mate. And he went, that's fine, mate, just walk round. So I walked round, they didn't bother frisking me, and walked straight onto the plane. So, yeah, how this woman actually managed to get on the plane, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet she was really clambering to get off it at the end faster than usual.
Yeah.
The only problems I've had with security like that are with magic equipment, because obviously a lot of what I do is just real magic, but sometimes I take electronic gimmickry with me just for fun. Nothing to do with helping any of the magic. It's just for fun. And and these things, they're never professionally made, these things. So any sort of magic gimmickry is like homemade by another magician probably, or some sort of engineer that knows about these things. So it's never like, it's not like an Apple product. You don't get it in a nice box and it's all contained in a nice shell and stuff like that. There's wires hanging out from all over the place. And in the time when I've had to do a carry-on bag and I take these things and they open it up, they see plastic stuff which looks like sexual things. They see things with wires coming out of it and little buttons and countdown numbers on it. All sorts. And then they say, then you have to have the explanation. So what's all this for, sir? And you go, oh, well, I'm a magician. You go, oh, are you really? Oh, are you?
Yeah.
A magician, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
like someone who makes balloon animals for kids is going to be able to afford a holiday here, mate.
Yeah, and then they go, what does this one do then? I go, well, I can't tell you.
Would just a magic circle outrank the Interpol?
Yeah.
Rules is rules.
Do we have any more trauma and dickheadery around the travel process, or could we talk about the actual holiday yet?
One more thing about the plane. Why is it that people think it's acceptable on an 8-hour flight to let children kick the back of your chair constantly? Right. So much so that I either have to get the very back seat of a thing to make sure no one's going to be kicking it, or I will just do the thing where, I mean, I'm not confrontational, but I will turn around slightly through that little gap in between and try and just give them the eye glare. A little bit, little glare, which is very, very menacing from me. Just a little sort of, yeah, I know.
What you could do is turn round to them and do that thing where you pull the end of your thumb off like magicians do,
right?
And then like mime to them that you're going to do it to them if they don't stop.
That's a good show.
Thanks.
So at the end of the journey, you get the holiday. Alex, what have our community been saying around dickheadery and holidays?
So Alice O'Dwyer has said people who sleep on and waste most of their day. So wasting valuable holiday time. I think especially when you're in a group and you're waiting for people. Like,
Alan?
Yeah.
What, is that you?
Well, yeah,
What do you got to say about that?
I used to do that a lot, but then actually as I've got older I've realised it is more about the days, isn't it? So what's happened is this, when I would say up until about 10 years ago I used to sleep all day and then get up about lunchtime, but on my group holiday in 2012 there was this girl that I quite fancied, and what happened is she would get up really early, about 8 or 9 o'clock. So I would start getting up really early, about 8 or 9 o'clock, so I could get the sun lounger positioned next to hers. Otherwise, there was about sort of 8 or 10 of us. I might be at the other end. You know, that's no good to be chatting up this girl if you're 8 or 10 sun loungers away, right? So everybody else in my, like I was sharing with 2 other guys, they couldn't believe it because they thought, oh well, Alan won't get up till 12, so that's fine. But all of a sudden, at 8:30, I'm up going, right, see you later, guys, I'm up down to the pool.
Bronzing himself.
Yeah. That was the first time I'd done that. And then that girl then became my wife, so that did pay off. So it did work.
That makes it less creepy.
Yeah, it does, yeah. At the time, it was quite creepy, I suppose.
What shows how remarkable this was as well is, back in those days, Alan used to be allergic to getting up before midday. Like, I don't just mean like he liked sleeping. He was, like, physically, he would be a wreck if he got up before midday.
Yeah, I would be sick. Physically sick, so I would, or at least bored.
At least.
So, yeah.
God.
So when people go, oh yeah, it's a nice early start, 6 o'clock, I'm going, that's no good for me.
Well, thank goodness we started recording this podcast at 12 midday. Otherwise it'd be a hell of an edit, wouldn't it? I think Alice O'Dwyer's point there has got a wider meaning, and for her, she's saying people who waste their holiday by being in bed. She's making a judgment there around what holiday should be in her mind. For some people, it's about relaxation and sleeping. But I have to say, I agree with her. Anybody that does a holiday that's anywhere indifferent from what you believe a holiday should be is perceived to be a bit of a dickhead. And that's the problem with group holidays, because people want to do it their way. Yeah. But if you do anything different, if you like don't go out for the meal that everybody else is going to, you're seen as aloof or a bit of a dickhead.
Manchester Evening News have done an article, and it says 85% of UK adults say that they get annoyed with their holiday companions. And I reckon that's a big reason why, because you have your own idea of what you want to get on and do, and obviously not everybody's the same, are they?
Yeah, and presumably the other 15% are just perving on them on the sun lounge.
When Alan got married to the woman who he stalked, it was in Crete. It was a lovely wedding, very, very nice wedding. And it was in Crete, and I went out and just talking about getting on with your holiday companions. We have a friend we call him Big D, and he's very small. And very small. How tall would you say Big D is, Alan?
2'3".
Okay, so he's very small. I think he's a bit bigger than that.
He is a bit bigger than that, yeah.
We were in a bar one evening and rather drunk. This is definitely dickhead behaviour. I don't think Alan was there, so I don't know whether he even knows about this. There's a video out there of it, though, of me singing Randy Newman's Don't Want No Small People Around Here and carrying Big D around with me as I karaoke sang it in a bar.
Aww.
I have not seen
Big D
that.
gets to decide if that was dickery or not.
Yeah.
I think a key part of the holiday is if you're going abroad and you get to the hotel, is that first impression that you get. So if you get there and they're like, welcome, and give you a free glass of fizz or something like that, fantastic. However, generally speaking, the places I tend to stay at are not that. What you get is just people who seem to resent the fact that you've chosen to stay at their hotel, forcing you to join a huge queue to then tell you that your room won't be ready for another 4 hours. I think they can do better than that. And then you suss the place out, and then you get a lie of the land of what the people are like, which is why I feel that a bit guilty. Some of the group holidays that I've been on, that people's first impressions of their hotel will be me and my mates just being noisy and destroying the place and deciding things like, you know, the music that they're pumping through, we don't like that, let's play our own music, so that you're listening to two lots of music and you can't hear either of them properly.
This links into something that almost every single person has said as well when we asked for information about holidays, is annoying, boozy Brits. That's you, isn't it?
Well, yeah. We're terrible as a nation when we're abroad. We're globally known as the worst travellers. I think it's between us and the Chinese. I mean, there's more of them, but we're more annoying. We've got more intensity of our bad behaviour. And don't even get me started on, like, cricket fans and football fans going on repeatedly embarrassing our nation.
On our wedding holiday, we took over the pool. So there is a thing where if you're in a couple, right, it's fine, isn't it? But if you're in a big group of people, there's nothing worse if you're in a couple than to see a big group of people, 10, 20 people, right? That's terrible. But if you're in that group of people, it is fucking brilliant, right? That is the thing. So we did this thing where we had this ball game where it's a very simple game. The idea is you all jump in the pool and you have this ball and you have to pass it between you, so you're only allowed to hit it at once. You're not allowed to catch it, you just have to hit it. You have to keep it up in the air, and you have to see how many sort of taps you can get. You can use your head, you can use your hands or elbows. It's very, very simple, sort of almost volleyballish, but you're never allowed to sort of half catch it and then throw it again. I think we must have played that for about 70 or 80 hours over the sort of 10 days.
It's the greatest thing ever.
It was the greatest game in the world. It's fantastic for us, but I do realise that all these couples that are having this nice romantic holiday, all they heard for 70 or 80 hours was, "Hup, come on, hup, hup."
It was incredible.
There's a theme of this about when you're trying to enjoy your holiday, it does mean that some other people cause some misery from that. One of the things that we like to do with our hotel whilst away is play lift-based games where me and the family will, when we're in the lift on just the four of us, we'll all have to do like crazy dance moves, and the loser is the person that stops last. Aww. Knowing that you might then the doors will open and the next load of people are waiting to get in. And you can bottle it and you can just stop, or you can keep going.
I've never had that problem because I have got a phobia of lifts. The last holiday that I was on in it was Alcudia last year. We were on the 8th floor. So I requested like a lower floor one, but they didn't have any room. So for the full holiday, I had to walk 8 flights of stairs because I refused to get in the lift.
Lisa Billany has talked about people who want to make friends, and Louise as well has also chimed in about this as well. Hating people who want to make friends. So she's not interested in like general chit chat with people who you're never going to see again. You know, like round the pool and things like that. So Louise, who's also said about this, her husband Chris, she says Chris always wants to do that. Now I know Chris, and he definitely would.
Wants to make friends.
Like he'd just go and chat to he'll want to go and chat to anyone and make friends with them and whatnot. And I know what they mean. Like I'd rather just like don't talk. I'm not interested. I didn't come out here to make friends, mate.
Oh, I quite like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's different if you meet your wife there.
Yeah, but she was with us already. It's because also then you kind of know what people are like, don't you? It's when you meet friends, you sort of not meet friends, sort of meet a couple, and they start chatting to you for a little bit. And they go, "Oh, you just arrived." You go, "Oh yeah," and they go, "Oh, by the way, the bar's over there. Good tip is if you want to get beer, go to that end because they always come quick or something." And you go, "Oh yeah, thanks for that." Yeah. And then that's fine for 5 minutes. But it's then when they start saying, "Yeah, I mean, you know, we voted leave, obviously," and you go, "Oh fuck."
Which inevitably is going to happen.
Yeah, and then you go, "Oh, I'm in now. What do I do now?"
That happened to Sally and I once with this couple, and they were nuts. But then they're just like, oh, you have to come round to our house, and oh, you have to do this. Oh, we're doing a charity boxing match. Hey, I'll train you. You can fight in it if you want. And it's just like, just steady on. I met you 2 hours ago.
Yeah, it's annoying if it happens on day one, isn't it? Because then you've got that awkwardness of trying to avoid them going, right, there they are by the pool. So if we want to get that way, we're going to have to walk all the way around the other side of the pool, so we don't have to have that awkward little nod and a, all right, past them. Yeah.
Kids, and I imagine it was me when I was a kid as well, you love making friends when you go on holiday, don't you? And then you start being pen pals with them, or like FaceTime pals with them, or whatever the modern equivalent is. But it's just when you get older, you're like, yeah, I'm not interested at all.
I've got enough friends.
Yeah.
In fact, more than enough. I'm gonna start culling a few now.
Yeah. I'm happy shedding at the moment.
We went on a family holiday to Menorca for 2 weeks and made lots of friends. This is when I was a teenager. One of the outcomes of that was keeping in touch with a girl we'd met. But it wasn't me, it was my younger brother kept in touch. I don't quite know why, but he ended up being her pen friend. And then his friends managed to intercept the letters which had her address on it. And whilst he decided to end correspondence, they had different ideas. So they carried on corresponding with this girl for quite some time, which was more of a progression of his descent into severe mental illness and confusion about his sexuality. And they just carried on like... Now, my brother knew they were doing it and didn't stop them, but they just kept writing to this girl. The letters just got weirder and weirder and weirder. So I bet she regretted making holiday friends.
Yeah. Do we think it's acceptable to lay your towel down on a sun lounger and go off for a walk or go for lunch and things like that? Does that bother you guys?
So 2 years ago, I went on holiday, and I've never been to a hotel where this happens. And 2 years ago, I got up at like 7 o'clock or something like that, and I went outside to enjoy the sunrise and the early morning sun, and looked down and just saw people putting towels out on sun lounges, and I was like, what is this phenomenon? So I got a couple of towels and I went down and I asked someone about it, and they were saying about it, and then so I put some towels out for me, and we went and used them, and it was good. I got a nice position around the pool. But I never realised. So for the rest of the holiday, I was like, well, I'm quite happy getting up early and going and doing this.
It really annoys me when I see like loads of empty sun lounges with towels on them and no one's actually sat on them.
Well, it used to be they said that's what the Germans did.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It was like they managed to just get some covert racism into general dickheadery.
That was a very 70s thing, wasn't it? It's the Germans. I think...
We always end up following the Germans. Well, not always.
I think we had to find another reason to sort of start doing anti-German stuff. Go, what can we get? Sun loungers. That's it. Sun loungers. It's the worst thing they've ever done.
in an act of blatant dickheadery, on a holiday I was on, they took that sun lounger reserving thing to an extreme by putting them on the night before.
Wow.
So, well, yeah. Wow. You say wow.
Did the towels end up in the pool?
They ended up in the pool. We sought some social justice out of that one.
Yeah.
You did it?
Well, yeah.
Got to take action.
Some others, and 15 pints of San Miguel.
On the last holiday I went on, and this is very unique, there was a guy there that his job was to look out for sun loungers. If you left it for more than an hour, he would just go and get your towel and put it back in the bin.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that should happen. That should be
it was great. It was a really good system, and you weren't allowed your own towels, or nobody seemed to have their own towels. And this guy, he would just every now and again just walk around and just pick some up. So because there was a sign saying if you leave it for more than an hour, your sun lounge is gone. You go, it's the perfect system, but it's pretty hard to keep a track of.
Yeah, if they're all the same.
Yeah.
That needs to happen more often. It would solve a lot of holiday annoyances, I think.
It annoys me because I can't get up early enough to do it, otherwise I'm sick.
Yeah. I mean, you could put the towel down early, Alan, but it's just covered in vomit.
I can get prime position every time. Nobody takes mine away after an hour.
On Travel Supermarket, the top 10 holiday bugbears, beach selling is one of them. So obviously, the lucky men and water sports and things like that. That doesn't bother me really, though.
It's annoying, but I don't think it's dickheadery, is it? Because the thing is, if the people that try and get you into the restaurants go, oh, we've got a great restaurant, come in, or they're trying to do the selly bits on the beach, that's all right. that's just them doing their job, isn't it? That's knowing that if they don't do that, they're not going to sell as much as if they do that.
Yeah.
And their bosses often told them, look, you have to go out on the street, you have to what they call prop people that sort of to proposition you to get you into the place. I understand that's not them being dickheads, that's just doing their job. And we don't like it, but it's for me, the dickhead becomes in the people reacting to those people. Going, no, you're right, mate. Hey, I'm all right. Hey, look, if I wanted to go in, I'd and you go, oh, come on, they're just doing their job.
And just taking the piss out
absolutely.
of them. I hate seeing that. It's just,
The idea that of being a dickhead to the people, right, of like that you try and sell you things, you go, that's bad. So at the Edinburgh Festival, one of the things is you sit in a courtyard and people try and fly your shows all the time, and that's just part of the deal at Edinburgh. Everyone's trying to sell their shows, so they come over and sell their shows. And I remember being with somebody that they've been flying a lot and got to the breaking point where, and this guy's just trying to sell his comedy show, saying, look guys, you know, it's a great show, please come and see it, it's at 4 o'clock today. And this guy I was with just picked up this pint of beer, poured it over his head and started slapping his head like this and just shouted at them like that. And that person was Iain Thompson.
Oh my God. You dickhead.
You poured it over your own head?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's slightly better.
My own head.
Is it
Like a
Then, then they'd think I was absolutely mad and leave me alone.
Did they?
I can't remember.
I think that guy did. I think that guy said it
probably
there.
did.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite an expensive strategy. I mean, yeah. I mean, cheers, mate. We might come along later. It's cheaper and easier. So that's holidays. We've talked a lot about the process of holiday, which I think is the less fun part of it, particularly going through the airport and people on the plane and then going on holiday. I think one of the takeaway lessons from this is that people are dickheads. And it just seems to be that everything that annoys us is just being in a confined space with other people, particularly if they're British. Which shows that the DBAD movement really does need to exist, and we've got more and more work to do. So if you're listening to this while you're on holiday by the pool or on your flight, just bear in mind, see if you can modify your behaviour. So, Alan, thank you for joining us. This is a piece of history. You've been with us as our very first guest. Certainly, you've proven to me that it's much better if it's not just left up to me, Alex and Iain, to come up with the content. So, thank you for sharing your stories and your views. I hope people are listening. And we mentioned at the top of the show about you weren't complaining. You were saying there was a lot of demand for your magic shows. How can people find out about that?
So you can go to my website, which is alanhudson.net, and then there's all the links on there. And if you can't find it from that, you probably can't watch the show. To be honest, you probably won't be able to work Zoom. So so go to alanhudson.net, and then you can find it from there. And then it's a really good show. It's magic.
Excellent. Well, I mean, as we said earlier, for me, it's been Alan Hudson's magic show. The best thing about lockdown.
The best thing about lockdown.
That and staving off the spread of that nasty disease.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. That has been episode 25 and holidays. We've had Alan Hudson. I've been John Gilbert.
I've been Iain Thompson.
I've been Alex King.
And remember, don't be a dickhead.